I created this Trinity Bible study for one of my closest Jehovah Witness friends. As a fundamental Baptist myself, my Jehovah Witness friends kept telling me that we as Baptists got most of our Trinity verses out of the New Testament, and that the Old Testament doesn't teach Trinity at all. So with that in mind, let's find out if the Bible teaches Trinity by comparing both the Old and the New Testament Bible scriptures.
The Father came to us as a servant. Now, I know we've talked about this, but we're going to open up some new ideas about this particular subject here. The Father came to us as a servant. Malachi 1:6. A son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? Saith the Lord of hosts unto you. O priests that despise my name, and ye say, wherein have we despised thy name? So, as I've said before, this is the perfect verse to talk about when it says that the fact that the Father gets more honor, okay, being a servant, all right, and more fear, being a master. I mean, not being the master, but being, not being the master, but being the servant. Then if he were to represent himself as the Father while he is in the position of servant. So if you really understand the clarification of this, it's very, very powerful. The Son honoreth his Father, and a servant his master. So the Son, if he's the Son, he honors the Father. Okay? If he's the servant, he honors the master. So he's asking kind of a rhetorical question. If I be the Father, where is mine honor? In other words, why, since it's much more honorable and there's more glory and there's more people that will follow, okay, him, if he is the servant and if he's the Son, than if he's the Father or the master. That's why he's saying, if I be the Father, where's mine honor? There's no honor if he comes, hey, I'm the Father, I'm here, okay? There's no honor in that. And if I be a master, where is my fear? In other words, if I'm the master, like I'm here to hit my hands down on the table and you must do what I tell you to do. But him coming as a servant, okay, is actually the God-like quality that you would expect in God. I mean, that's the whole idea of who God is. And to show humility and to really put us to shame when we are trying to think that we are better than what we are. And that's why the whole idea is if we're servant, we're godly like. God cannot be God and not be a servant. That's what I'm trying to say. He can't be God unless he's the Son. Okay? It's very easy to understand if you just realize that point. And then, of course, we know that the Son came to us as a servant. Verily I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. Now, this is perfect harmony with Malachi 1:6, because he's telling us very clearly that even though Jesus is himself God, he has put himself as a servant, and that way he cannot be greater than his God. The one that is sent cannot be greater than the one that sent him. Otherwise, he couldn't be God. He couldn't be. In other words, the whole point of being a servant is to be put in the position of being the servant, or to be put in the position of being the Son. When do you know of when God ever allowed himself to be put in a position of being a servant? If Jesus Christ is not God, then obviously God is going to put himself in that position. When would be the best perfect way to do that if it wasn't Jesus Christ? He hasn't. Okay? Jesus Christ is the way that he did that. That was his way of coming down and showing himself as a servant. Perfect way for God to represent himself, and absolutely perfect in humility and perfect in all the God-like ways. And it's just so powerful to me. And then in Philippians 2:5-8, let this mind be in you which was also in Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, Okay, so here we got Jesus Christ was being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation. Goes all back to, even though, he could be equal to God, he didn't feel like he needed to be equal with God, because he himself, okay, did not want to make himself of any reputation. Didn't want him make himself big and gloaty and look at me and all this. He didn't want to have a reputation of being big and gloaty. He wanted to be a servant. And it even says, and took upon him the form of a servant. Didn't have to be a servant, but he did that on purpose. And was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. So, wow. I mean, again, talking about choosing between my God and your God, my God to come down as a servant when he didn't have to be, to me, is a more powerful God and is more glorified and more appreciated and more loved, okay, than any God that didn't, okay, come down in the flesh and become a servant. Okay, that to me is one of the most strongest evidences, at least to me, that shows that I have the true God, because my God's willing to do that.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to watch the next video explaining the examples of the Old and New Testament Trinity verses.